The history of the American-Vietnam War. The American involvement in the Vietnam War was one of the most important and controversial conflicts of the 20th century. It lasted for many years and deeply affected both the United States and Vietnam. Background of the Vietnam War. Vietnam had been a colony of France since the 19th century. During World War II, Japan occupied Vietnam. After the war, Vietnamese nationalists led by Ho Chi Minh fought for independence from France. In 1954, after the French defeat at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, Vietnam was divided into two parts: North Vietnam, communist government led by Ho Chi Minh; South Vietnam, an anti-communist government supported by the United States. The division was meant to be temporary, but tensions between the North and South soon grew into war. Why the United States entered the war. The United States feared the spread of communism during the Cold War. American leaders believed in the Domino Theory, which said that if one country became communist, nearby countries might follow. To stop communism, the U.S. began sending military advisors and financial aid to South Vietnam in the 1950s under President Dwight D. Eisenhower. American involvement increased under the presidents John F. Kennedy, Lyndon B. Johnson, Richard Nixon. Escalation of the war. In 1964, the Gulf of Tonkin incident occurred, where North Vietnamese patrol boats allegedly attacked American ships. This led Congress to pass the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, allowing President Johnson to increase military action without formally declaring war. By 1965, large numbers of American soldiers were sent to Vietnam. At the peak of the war, more than 500,000 U.S. troops were stationed there. The war involved heavy bombing campaigns, jungle warfare, guerrilla tactics used by the communist fighters known as the Viet Cong, use of chemicals like Agent Orange. Major events. Tet Offensive, 1968. The Tet Offensive was a large surprise attack by North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces. Although militarily unsuccessful for the communists, it shocked the American public and reduced support for the war in the United States. Anti-war movement. Many Americans protested the war, especially students and young people. Television coverage showed the violence of the conflict, increasing public opposition. One tragic event was the Kent State shootings in 1970, where National Guard troops shot protesting students. Withdrawal and end of the war. President Richard Nixon introduced Vietnamization, a policy aimed at gradually withdrawing American troops while strengthening South Vietnam's military. In 1973, the Paris Peace Accords were signed, and the United States officially withdrew combat forces. However, fighting between North and South Vietnam continued. In 1975, North Vietnamese forces captured Saigon, ending the war. Vietnam became a unified communist country. Effects of the war. Human cost. Millions of Vietnamese civilians and soldiers died. More than 58,000 American soldiers were killed. Many more were wounded or traumatized. Political and social impact. The war damaged trust in the U.S. government and changed American foreign policy. It also influenced military strategy and public attitudes toward future wars. Environmental damage. Chemicals such as Agent Orange caused long-term environmental destruction and health problems for many people. Conclusion. The Vietnam War was a complex conflict shaped by nationalism, communism, and Cold War politics. Although the United States entered the war to stop the spread of communism, the conflict became costly and unpopular. The war left lasting effects on Vietnam, the United States, and international politics.